you love this next film.
Oh, I do. Our next guest was just 26 years old when she started the world's most exclusive underground poker tournament. Suffice to say, Molly Bloom's life story reads just like a film script. In fact, it was brought to the big screen in 2017 in the blockbuster hit Molly's Game.
My weekly poker game is moving to the Cobra Lounge. Tomorrow night and then every Tuesday night. You'll help run it.
She's seen it all. High stakes.
They were going all in, all the time.
High rollers.
Movie stars. Directors.
Winners.
Harlan had tripled his original $50,000 buy-in.
And losers.
Do you again?
Hey. Molly Bloom is the former poker princess whose secret gambling tournaments drew in big players from business and Hollywood. That is, until 2011, when the FBI shut it all down.
Read to me what it says at the top.
United States of America versus Molly Bloom.
But Bloom's life didn't end there. In 2017, her story was turned into a film, Molly's Game, starring Jessica Chastain, Kevin Costner and Idris Elba.
I'm about to plead guilty in federal court.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Or are they? Now she's travelling the world as an author and speaker. Molly Bloom joins us now from Baltimore in the US. Great to have you here, Molly. Your life story is almost stranger than fiction. You started out as a skier on the US Olympic team. You went to run a multi-million-dollar poker game. How did this all happen to you?
I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I made it all the way to the Olympic qualifiers, and I crashed pretty hard and got injured, which kind of led me to take a little time off from life, from school, and retire from skiing. And I ended up going to Los Angeles simply because I wanted to be warm and be a little bit of a kid for a while before I headed to law school. And I ended up working for this guy in Hollywood, and he had this underground poker game. And in a short amount of time, I went from serving drinks to actually running my own games, and ultimately ran these games in New York and LA for 8 years. And and then we know how it ends.
Yeah. Molly, your clientele were the cream of the crop. You had people like Leonardo DiCaprio, Ben Affleck, Tobey Maguire at your games. What were they like?
You know, I have to say most of them were very nice. And I guess there's this expectation when a big movie star walks in the room that they're going to be that movie character that we thought they were. And, they can't. But I found most of the celebrities that I ran into to be very nice, most of them down to earth, and some of them really good poker players.
Yeah, but that would have made it really hard to get this movie, Molly's Game, off the ground, and indeed it did, right?
There's no question about that. I went I actually was the one that was really driving the quest to get this movie made, mostly as a solution to my massively huge mess that I created, which, I was a convicted felon, millions of dollars in debt, and the tabloids were telling a story about me that I felt was pretty reductive. And, I for my own survival, I needed money, and I needed kind of a really spectacularly large way to market myself and tell the true story. So I was going around to agents, lawyers, managers saying, how do we get this made? And most of them said, we don't, because really powerful people don't want it made. But, I had nothing to lose, and so I was pretty fearless, so I just kept going at it until someone caved.
Speaking of money, Molly, these guys that were playing at your games, they had a lot of money. What's the highest amount you've ever seen gambled in one night?
I saw someone lose $100 million in a night.
$100 million?
$100 million?
100 million, yep.
What was the reaction in the room from everybody, including yourself, when someone loses $100 million?
Well, there's certainly kind of a crazy energy in the room, but as a game runner, even though I knew that sum was going to make a lot of noise, it was going to contribute to the mythology of the brand.
True.
There's a sick feeling in your stomach, because you know that number is not a healthy number. It doesn't matter how much money someone has. it's unsustainable, it's unhealthy, and it's kind of a shame. So, you know, you're, as a business owner, you're conflicted.
You know, you mentioned the movie being, you know, the film Molly's Game. You eventually did get it made, which is fantastic. What was it like being portrayed by Jessica Chastain?
I mean, it was a dream.
Yeah.
I wish she could play me in my regular life.
She's so talented, she probably could.
Yeah, right. Molly, you're sharing this experience now through speaking tours. So what are the lessons you're sharing with people?
You know, I grew up in this very high-achieving family. I have one brother that is a Harvard-educated cardiothoracic surgeon. The other brother, a two-time Olympian and played the NFL. And I kind of started out life thinking that I wasn't good enough. And so I took that into the world and became psychotically ambitious to prove it. And I always thought the solution would be, you know, fancy life, hanging out with celebrities, lots of money. And I kind of came up short with that quest, even though I had this great adventure and learned so much, and it was kind of an amazing education. But when it all fell apart, it really catalyzed this huge question, well, if that wasn't it, because I took it as far as you can kind of take it in terms of creating this fantasy life. If that's not the answer, then what is? Yeah. And what I like to speak about, and you know, it just depends on who I'm speaking to, but what I like to speak about is what I've found and the peace and freedom that I've found through kind of focusing on building yourself from the inside as opposed to the outside.
Well, it's great to have your company on this morning. You should come down to Australia and do some speaking down here. Thank you so much, Molly. Great to have you on.
Thank you, Molly.
Still to come, the new push for children as young as 3.